The movie begins with a young man named JP who works in a burger restaurant, and it shows that he loves his job and his colleagues and everyone loves him. And then Nina, a colleague, comes and asks him to take her shift because she has an emergency and she needs to leave, so JP immediately agrees, and during the shift JP is standing taking orders from the cars in the parking lot, and then two racist guys come. And they insult JP saying that he is Mexican, so JP refuses to help them or serve them as a punishment for them. And then Lily, his sister, comes with her friends to tell JP that he needs to be home by 8 o'clock to celebrate her acceptance into Columbia University, and JP realizes that the university might be far away from them, and he is very attached to Lily, his sister. And at night, when he returns home, Lily comes to his room to talk to him because she knows that he is upset that she will be away from him. So JP tells her that he is happy for her and proud of her, and then he notices that she has a tattoo on her wrist, and Lily asks him to keep the tattoo a secret between them because their mother will be very upset about it. And then their family gathers with Lily's friends to celebrate her, and suddenly the immigration police attack them and arrest everyone, and we learn that Finn, the governor of the state, has declared a state of emergency and decided to arrest all undocumented immigrants, and we see JP in detention with a large group of people, and at that moment he sees Lily boarding a bus with a group of boys and girls, and he keeps calling out to her but she doesn't hear him. And after a few days JP meets with the lawyer who is handling the immigration case, and she tells him that the case might take months until the court looks into it and gives it attention, and she offers him a temporary solution and gives him a paper to announce a special organization for elderly care, and the program of the organization lasts for 4 months in it. But at that moment Bruce attacks him, and he is with another security guard, and they shock him with the electric baton and take him with them to punish him. And at night JP wakes up to go to the bathroom, and suddenly he finds an elderly woman named Wills attacking him, telling him that Virgil will free him and he needs to look for him. And at that moment James and the guards come and catch Wills, and the next day Eddie gathers everyone to show them a room for the elderly who suffer from Alzheimer's disease, and he asks them to take care of them because they are not mentally stable and their behaviors are strange. And then James tells JP that his mission is to care for an elderly man named Yas, and JP finds Yas tied and bound to the chair and learns from James that Yas bites anyone who approaches him, and that is why they decided to tie him up. And James starts to tease Yas, and JP asks him not to mock any elderly person, and then James gets very angry and threatens JP and makes it clear that he won't be lenient. And suddenly one of the elderly attacks JP and delivers a very strong blow to him to the extent that JP loses consciousness. Then when he wakes up he finds himself in the hospital, and his sister Lily enters, and he is very happy and he can't believe that he sees her again. But suddenly his sister moves away from him and tells him that she needs his help, and then JP wakes up and writes down that he was dreaming, and then Mega comes at that moment to check on him and take care of him. And then during snack time JP is very upset because the type of food does not change, and then she asks Sencha about Chris, and she tells her that they returned him to jail to fix him. And after she leaves Sencha and walks away, JP tells them that Sencha's story is a lie because he found Chris's inhaler today, and this means that he is still here or he was killed because he can't breathe without. And then JP deliberately hugs James tightly to steal the keys to the monitoring devices on their legs, and when the night comes JP takes off the monitoring device on his leg, and he walks to Big Mac and Mega, and he tells them to take off their devices as well and tells them to go to the swimming pool, so Mega agrees to go down with JP, and they sit in the swimming pool together for a long time, and they get very close to each other. And the next morning JP tells Big Mac that he is interested in Mega and that they look like they will get engaged, and Big Mac is very happy for them. At that moment JP notices that Greta has a paper toy, and it is the same toy that his sister loves to play with, so he approaches her and asks about who gave her the toy, but suddenly Greta attacks JP and holds his hand tightly, and he is very surprised by her reaction towards him. And then James and Sencha come and take her away as usual, and he goes back to sitting with his friends who are wondering about the elderly's behaviors. And at that moment JP notices a mark on Greta's neck and understands that someone scared her without her realizing it. And at night JP is sitting in his room with the paper toy he took from Greta, and at that moment he notices that there is a word inside the paper that says help, so he decides to sneak out and go to Greta, and he uses the toy to listen to Sencha and James getting closer, and he waits for Greta until they leave, and he goes to look at Greta. And at that moment he sees a tattoo shaped like a butterfly behind her ears, so he is shocked and can't believe what he sees, and he realizes that Greta is Lily, but she has become old and is an elderly woman, and this is what he cannot comprehend. And at that moment James enters and beats him, and the next day Camilla and Mega and Big Mac are sitting together eating, and they exploit JP's sudden absence, and they are suspecting that something has happened to him like Chris, so Big Mac agrees with them. And they go to Eddie's office, and they find James sitting in the office, so they wait for him until he comes out, and Big Mac and Mega enter the office, and Camilla waits for them outside to watch the place. And at that moment Big Mac notices that the drawings they said looked strange, and they do not understand anything from the drawings. And at the same time James returns to the office, and Camilla tries to prevent him from entering the office and distract him, but she fails, and James enters the office and uses Big Mac and Camilla until James leaves. And at that moment JP is bound to a chair next to two people, and he tries to talk to them to understand what is happening, but he is shocked when he sees half of their faces old and aged, and we discover that JP's face is also like theirs. And when Big Mac and Mega leave the office, Big Mac goes to Camilla and tells her that it seems that this place belongs to the Masons and the Illuminati because they did not understand anything from the paper they saw. And at that moment James calls Big Mac and asks him to fix the ventilation openings, and at that moment an elderly person attacks Sentia or is trying to kill her, so JP pushes Bruce to stop him, and he accidentally knocks the elderly person down from the stair he's standing on, and he falls to the ground, and Big Mac faints at that moment. And at that time JP sees one of the workers in the place entering the secret code for the door to open, and he manages to free himself from the chair and quietly approaches the door without anyone noticing, and he enters the password he saw. But he discovers that there is a missing letter, so he remembers the elderly Lady Louise who attacked him when she told him that Virgil will free him, so he realizes that the letters are spelling the name Virgil, so he opens the door. And at that moment James discovers that JP is no longer in the chair, and he informs Bruce and Sentia through the radio of what happened, and JP keeps walking in the place trying to find an exit, and then he finds himself in front of a strange machine, and in it are frozen and dead people, and he realizes when he sees those people that they are entering the machine and coming out as mincemeat made into burger meat that tastes exactly like natural burgers, so he devises a plan to escape. And at that time Mega sees him and calls out to him, and as soon as she approaches him she gets scared, and James grabs JP, and then we see Eddie sitting with the Governor Finn in his burger restaurant, which is made from human meat, and it is very popular among people. And at that moment Finn is worried that someone will discover their secret, but Eddie reassures him that everything is going smoothly and the sedatives are giving them all to the young people at the same time. And Finn at that moment asks about the machine, and they say that the machine produces twice the amount of meat they need in half the time. And then Eddie goes back to the place and finds out what happened, and he calls out to JP, and he knows that Mega has come to rescue them. And after a while JP asks Mega about his sister, and she tells him that she is still alive because she hasn't taken the hormones responsible for softening muscles to prepare for the grinding stage, and the reason for their transformation into old people is that no one will look for a few elderly people who are senile, and no one will care to hear them or believe what they say, and over time these hormones can cause very strong convulsions that break bones, just like what happened to Phillips, and the reason he died at that moment. And during this time Camilla is sitting in her room, and she finds the key of the monitoring device fall out of the ventilation hole, and she hears Big Mac banging on the door, so she wants to take the key and burn herself from the monitoring device, and she exits her room and tries to escape, and she goes to the place where they eat every day and breaks the glass window and writes in the paper that there are monitoring devices just like Chris told them. And suddenly James attacks her and grabs her, and then we see her face half old, and JP comes and sits with her, and they understand together that they need to escape. And then JP goes to his sister Lily and talks to her and learns that he knows everything that is happening here and that he will fight and do everything he can to get them out of this place, so he gives Lily a call. And when James and Sentia and Mega show up, they have hormone and sedative injections, so Camilla attacks them and knocks the injections to the ground, and suddenly all the elderly people in the place get up and charge at them, and at that moment JP moves to find a place to escape but on Grinder, and at that moment Eddie gets up and hits her with all his power, and grabs JP and tries to choke him, and at that moment the hormones bring Chris to a stage of convulsions and violent transformation, so he attacks Eddie, and indeed he attacks him and breaks his jaw and kills him, and Eddie falls onto the grinder and enters it, watching his flesh turn into burgers just like he was doing to people, and then JP and Lily and Camilla exit the place, and he sees Big Mac and he is with all the elderly people, but he is shocked when he sees that they three are not responding to him, and suddenly they wake up, and JP is glad to know that they are still alive, and then a scandal spreads in the news about Finn and Eddie and the restaurant and the organization, and they shut down the restaurant, but unfortunately Finn has escaped, and no one knows his whereabouts, and they arrest the lawyer, and we discover that she was a spy for Finn, and Eddie and the scientists are working on research to return the elderly to their normal youthful state again, and all the undocumented immigrants ordered by Finn to be arrested are released.